before y'all go roasting me in the fucking comments or hitting me up in my DM saying I ain't wearing my masks, I got it right here. So I'm not trying to hear shit from you. But it's your boy Abdul, aka the Somalian Juice Man, back at it again with another video. I quite literally just recorded what was supposed to be this video a few minutes ago, but I realized that the thing wasn't recording. So now I'm triple checking, and yes, it is recording. So I will start streaming what is inside my head and elaborating what the hell I'm talking about. So if you read the title being, if you want to understand how the universe works, understand how calculus works. And I would want to take this statement apart and really go over the distinct points that I have laid out and thought about for, I'd say, 1 or 2 weeks. It's been about 1 or 2 weeks since I first had that idea and kind of thought about it a little bit. And I'm sure you'll enjoy me kind of rambling on and providing some structure with my points. So enjoy. So understanding how the universe works. If you know any better, and if you've been watching my videos for a bit, you kind of know that I'm not some ordinary individual with particular wants and interests. I'm the type of person that you knew it back in school that always would ask the big picture questions, or the certain things that wanted me to get a step closer to understanding how everything worked, kind of delving into things like conspiracy theories, learning how certain religions work, learning how things happen behind the scenes, and really understanding what the hell is going on. So, you know darn well, me talking about something as advanced and as very conceptual and methodical as calculus, and bridging that to the understanding of how the universe works, is something that I would love to tackle, and I'm going to do just that. I guess to preface it, for those who are unfamiliar with the subject of calculus, or it has been quite some time that you've taken the class, if I were to break it down into 3 main categories of studies or concepts in the subject, it would be 3 things. First would be limits, first would be derivatives, and third would be integrals, all of which is within the sound structure of algebra and manipulating numbers through arithmetic processes using orders of operations and stuff like that. So there's a quick overview of the bigger concepts behind calculus and how it works. And from my understanding of trying to figure out how the universe works, I'm approaching it from the context of understanding the natural laws of creation, or the hermetic principles that underlying the teachings of how creation works, and things like manifestation and things like energy come into play with people's lives and stuff like that. So I made a video, I would say 1 or 2 months ago, introducing a series that I wanted to get into about the laws of creation. I called it I Am God, but I Make Typos. And that was a teaser to those 7 points that I wanted to delve into. If I remember it from the top of my head, it was mentalism, where it's like all is mind. There's that. There is vibration. There is polarity. There is correspondence and stuff like that. If you look up the Kabbalion, it goes into the 7 points. But when I freshen up my my thoughts around that subject, I will break it down individually, like I said I would, and you'll get a better understanding of that. That's basically my approach of my understanding of how the universe works, since I believe that based on those 7 laws, it's a good way of figuring out or estimating or coming to calculated approximations of how the universe operates through polarizing energies. And at the highest level, understanding that through the use of your mind or collective of minds, that the mind is the gateway to the universe, and how what you seek or what you ask for shall be given to you within certain parameters and conditions. That being said, the same thing could be made through calculus, where I'm still taking into consideration for people who had not taken the course, but for those who have or are familiar with the subjects on a foundational level, you would remember going through the basic practices to reinforcing your algebra skills and learning about how functions work, what a one-to-one function is, what is considered a function, what is not considered a function, what is the inverse of a function. So stuff like that, and really manipulating functions and how they work. And the takeaway from that was that once you have a firm understanding of how functions work and how you can manipulate it to solve for specific things, you can then use those same functions to solve more complex things that algebra by itself cannot do. So things like determining what the speed or the acceleration or the velocity of a car at a specific position within a certain time interval were to speed up for a certain amount of time, you could essentially use calculus to figure out what that car's velocity is within a specific point. For all that mumbo jumbo stuff like that, TLDR, you can essentially figure out specific world type questions through the use of calculus. And specifically, when I say that the use of calculus, I believe that calculus and mathematics itself uses educated guesses and approximations based on sound proofs and principles to understand what goes on within a system. So going back to that concept of determining what a function is, if you can determine a function is integrally sound, or that a function is a function, then you can go off making more assumptions saying that, okay, this is a function, if it has an inverse, it's a one-to-one function, it passes certain things. You can then say, all right, I would like to differentiate this function given a certain condition to find out how fast that car was going. Or since this function is a function and it's differentiable, that also means that it can be integrated. So without really going into too much depth in this video, I want it to be more of a synopsis. Once you can make that assumption that a function is a function, that a function is differentiable, if a function is differentiable, then you can say a function can be integrated, because you're really just going backwards. Integration, derivation, integration, derivation, integration, derivation, and I'll go more in depth talking about that. So really, the point that I'm trying to get across is that just like in the real world where you're making educated guesses with the tools that you have, a lot of the structural integrity of calculus relies on the fact that you making certain assumptions and educated guesses is sound within one assumption, within one assumption, within one assumption. And then, which is what goes into the study of how limits work. Limits being the language of calculus. Educated guesses, stuff like that. And to go briefly in detail on how derivatives and integrals work like that, derivatives study change at a specific point versus integrals study a summation of changes and calculate it together to help you find specific information of what was happening within that system. So there's that. So understanding how that works, you can then make the parallel and connection with the universe, saying, all right, cool, you can't really make a pinpoint accurate measurement of something, but you can sure as hell make a damn close approximation of something. You can break it apart into smaller parts, or you can take those parts that have been broken up and then put them together and put the pieces of the puzzle together to get you a nice little picture to show you, hey, ta-da, here's the final product. So that's essentially the TLDR behind what the hell I'm going to talk about in these next other videos that I really want to tackle. So there's that. So yay! Yeah, it's your boy Abdul, aka the Smiley Juice Man, and I will see you next time be easy and let this marinate in your head, and throw in some comments and questions. Peace.